Welcome, healthy friends. Let's talk about something that nourishes our soul and our body. It's sweet to us, makes us just thrive, feel good every day. The more you consume of this, the better you feel. Might be a little melodramatic, but I think that it's appropriate. We get so much satisfaction from these guys. I'm telling you. Without them, you're less off. Let's talk about them. I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. Moving on. We're talking about bees, not Bee Gees. You know, I'm not all that funny, but I try sometimes. Just saying. This is one of my favorite topics. I love these little guys. And you know, without them, we are less off. Kind of like the Bee Gees. Seriously, though, you have so many wonderful health benefits attributed from these products that these bees make that it's hard to find many things in nature that are so good for you. I know that might seem melodramatic and you're just hyping it up. I'm actually not. And if you know anything about how animals take stuff, things from the world and transform those into things that we can utilize for our health, it's amazing. And this little guy, man, he's a trooper. We get the benefit. And even if you don't like honey, this is a podcast episode more than just honey. But if you don't like that, that's fine. There's other things. But the point is that without these little guys, life's not as good or as healthy. And what I'm going to show you is there are products that I bet you don't know about. Everybody's heard of honey. There's more than just honey for your health. Anyway, let's get into bees. Isn't it amazing that they can make out of wax something that is so utterly perfect? As far as I know, there's not many things in nature that can do this, especially a living creature. I know I probably couldn't make this, and I'm not an insect. I actually have a brain and things like, tools. But this is phenomenal. And not to mention that it's functional, not only from its structure, but also what it can do for you as a human. So not only does it work for them and protect them from getting disease and problems and whatever else can happen in a hive, but it can help you in your hive, your body. Yes, it's phenomenal. And it's a super cool structure. I love hexagonal shapes. They're super fun. But we're going to talk about the beehive a little bit and also what they make and how you can use it for your health, because I'm telling you, this is an amazing creature making amazing healthy things for you. And I'm not just hyping it to hype it. It literally is that good. I don't know what else to tell you, but I love this. Do you know how you actually grow food? That would be pollinators. And pollinators are amazing. Bees are only one of them. There's other things like butterflies and other insects, but bees are kind of like not just pollinators, but they're also like, they give us dessert at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, without them in your garden, you don't get cucumbers, or in this case, a pickle. You don't get corn and strawberries and all the other stuff. And not to say that they're always the reason why they pollinate everything, because there's lots of insects that pollinate lots of different things. My point is just that pollinators give you all these delicious things that you get to eat. But they not only pollinate, but then they take the pollen and they make things like honey. That's your dessert. So first you eat the pickle, and then you're like, you know what? I'd like some cornbread with honey on it. Oh, okay. Or a little milk. Raw. Only do the raw with milk in it. Or a little ice cream. If you've never had ice cream with raw honey, you're missing out. You have two natural things there going on rather than regular sugar. Anyway, you need these little dudes. They're amazing. And if we lose them, we're in real trouble. Just saying. There's a famous quote by Einstein. If the bee disappeared off the face of the earth, man would only have 4 years left to live. Guess what? He never said that. There is zero proof that he said that. But the reason I'm bringing it up is the concept, and whoever said this attributed it to him, obviously to probably get more traction, is a proper saying. This is real. If you lose the bee, you lose a lot of things. You don't lose all food, but you definitely lose some foods. Maybe some of the foods that you really, really like. I'm just saying. Like, bees don't pollinate every single food in the world, but it definitely pollinates a lot of stuff. So you lose the bees, you lose a lot of cool things that are in your life. A lot of delicious things. Okay, we're going to get into the substances that we derive from bees and why they're so awesome. The first, as you see, is beeswax. See those colors? Those colors represent how they found that pollen. So a pollen that's darker like this, obviously is a pollen that's darker. And then the yellow, well, that's obvious, and so on and so forth. Wax is incredible on what it can do. Let's get into a few of those. Now, I know I'm bringing up things like, screenshots of images and stuff like this. I get it. The reason I do that is because, you want to see something, and then I can speak about it. And therefore, you're reading, and then you have my input. Does that make sense? Otherwise, I don't know what else. I could sit there and just talk, and then it's just audio, and you just have a talking head. In this case, you can see it written. I think it's better. Anyway, here we have a whole bunch of things. I will tell you, beeswax is used in more than just this. It's used in a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, it's used in things that you would never even think of. Either way, what's really cool is you got to think about, how do they make the wax? Not going to get into that. It's a really in-depth process. But you got to think about, okay, so bees have wax that makes the hive. They've got propolis. They've got honey. They've got royal jelly. They got all these things going on to make that thing you see up in the tree or underneath your overhang or something. And you go, ooh, that looks scary. And you look inside and you're like, whoa, that's beautiful. Minus the fact there's a whole bunch of like creepy crawly things going on in there, but it's an amazing own entity, its own world. And how they make up that world starts with beeswax. You can use it to make everything from candles, which are the best candles. If you're going to make candles of any kind, beeswax, if that imparts oils into the atmosphere, are better for you and healthier for you than just about everything else, including coconut oil. I'm just saying, beeswax candles are the best. Everything from skincare products to painting stuff to waterproofing your clothes, crayons. I mean, creating surfaces that aren't sticky for things like your drawers. Documents. This is cool. Surgical bone wax. Yeah, that's a thing. You don't want, we'll call it synthetic or unnatural things inside your body when you have, when you go for surgery. You're like, Doc, what are you using to suture me up inside my body? Well, I have two choices for you. I have this beeswax thread, or I can use something that, it doesn't exist in nature. We made it in a lab. I think you're going to probably pick, beeswax. But anyway, you can even use it to handle all your dreadlocks. I don't have that issue. I don't have dreadlocks. Glass etching? Ooh, how does that work? Well, they probably put it on the glass and then they add acids and it doesn't go through the beeswax. Book binding. Dental situations. Okay. Dental with bees products, it actually is beneficial in all the products that they make. Everything that a bee makes, you can use in your mouth for dental situations. Fantastic. I just want to show this as beeswax is your first thing that you can use. And of course, the one that everybody knows about, which is honey. Of course, we all know that because we eat it and it tastes sweet. Well, it has a lot of benefits. The number one benefit it has is it's a humectant, which means it absorbs water, hydration out of everything around it. Pretty cool. Here's just a basic list of 10 things that, honey can do. And there's more than this. I just wanted to give you something so you could kind of, see it. For those listening in audio, I'm going to name these off. It is very good for allergies, especially when you use it locally grown, made, whatever you want to call it, for honey. Harvested, is that better? Antioxidants, okay, I'll give you that one, antioxidants, but essentially there's some cool things that help your health. Gut health, absolutely. It will definitely help your gut health, especially if you're somebody who eats a lot of really bad sugar. When you give your gut good quality sugars that are, let's call it more, I hate using the word natural, but something that was converted from its base form into a more living form. I know what you're going to say. Eric, it's just sugar. It's just polysaccharides and monosaccharides. I get it. But when an animal converts one thing into another, it's a different thing. It has more energy. It is more life-giving. That's a fact. Because I'm telling you, when I eat a ribeye, I feel great. Like super good. If I were to eat all the nutrients in a ribeye separately, I would not feel the same way. Skin health. It's known as, well, because I said earlier, it's a humectant. It helps with skin health. Obviously, we've all heard of how wounds, cut yourself or you get something like that. Honey, and let me preface, this has to be real honey. You can't be using that garbage stuff that is just sugar with flavoring of honey in it. You have to get real honey, and it should be local, always local to your area. But real honey will do things like crystallize. If it's not crystallizing, not really that good. You should know where it's coming from. Ask the people, are you organic? We're not organic. That's okay. Where are you located? We're not near any of the pesticide-laden fields and flowers. So we're getting, really clean pollen. Okay, then I'm not worried about it. Otherwise, it should be organic. But essentially, when you have really good honey, it's extremely healing. There's a lot of compounds in there. I just mentioned when you take single nutrients from nature and convert them from an animal into something else, you have something else. It has abilities. It has things it can do. I don't know why. It's called life. We don't have to prove everything. You can see it happening. It's actually happening. And this is used all around the world for skin problems. Honey and sleep, never used it myself. Maybe some people have that situation. Energy, well, of course, it's a sugar. Stress management, I'd like to see some of the evidence on that. Immunity, definitely immunity. There are things in here that can help boost your immunity. The immunity, obviously, is your ability to clean itself out. You're not fighting little small creatures out to get you. It's not that at all. Weight loss, there's reasons for that. We're not getting into that one, but don't think by eating a whole bunch of honey you're going to lose weight, because it doesn't work that way. Don't get into that one. And bone health. Bone health is interesting because there are nutrients in honey that stimulate your body to create other things in your body. And so through something that an animal took minimal and put it into a complex situation, yes, can do something like bone health. There are mysteries in this world. We don't know everything. We'll never know everything. The fact is, there are studies showing that bone health increases using raw honey, and good raw honey. The other one that we utilize is propolis. Propolis is like, it's sort of a bee glue. No one really knows how to classify it. It's this sticky substance that they use all over inside the hive. What's awesome is not only does it have hundreds of compounds in it, and there are hundreds of compounds, but they use it as almost a tool. A tool? Is that what I mean to say? Let me give you an example. Let's say something comes into the hive that's not supposed to be in there, like a mouse or a insect or whatever. Almost like spiders, they will attack the thing, and then they'll sting it and inject it with their venom, which kills it. But you know what they do? They coat it and wrap it in propolis, essentially like mummifying it so that it doesn't break down, degrade, and rot inside their sterile environment. Think about that for us. That is amazing. Man, you have these little dudes, right? These little bees. They do miraculous. They're not even supposed to fly the way they look and how they're like put together. And yet they have these abilities that not many other insects have or entities have. Not to mention that their hive is just incredible, and it's made out of wax. So what happens when it gets really hot? Does it melt? Oh no, we don't have to worry about that because they encase it in all of this cellulose to protect it so that it maintains its heat on the inside, which is about 90 degrees. And if you didn't know that, what is that, 34 Celsius, something like that, year round. So if you ever wonder why bees, like you don't see bees in the winter. They didn't go anywhere. They don't migrate. You know what they do? They go inside their hive and they consume the honey that they made to warm the interior by dancing, because that's what they do. And it warms the hive to 90 degrees, 90, 93, to keep them alive in the winter. I mean, think about that. And then they make these really cool things that we can consume for our health. All right, I went on a tangent. Sorry about that. Propolis is phenomenal. And by the way, you can put all these together and enter these into your life in any way possible, or just one, and you don't have to do all these. Propolis does antioxidant activity, antibacterial, biological activities, which there's a lot of them, but antifungal activity, keeps the fungus down. Vaginal use, yes. Antibacterial activity. There's a list of bacteria that it works on, but essentially I wanted to just kind of give you a general overall view of what some of these things do. Antiprotozoan activity, antioxidant activity, antitumoral activity, anti-inflammatory activity, hepatoprotective activity, anti-diabetic, immunomodulatory, dental action, like I said earlier with dental stuff, allergy, rhinitis, and asthma. It's mostly a phlegm situation. Well, it works on that. And it gets into like how to formulate it and stuff. Point is, man, that's a lot of stuff. And even though those things are very kind of maybe, kind of like, well, anti-diabetic, what do you mean? Well, you can read this kind of stuff and see for yourself. But there's some specific things it does, and then it does broad ranging type of stuff. It's amazing, like all the things that it can do. The other one is bee pollen. Look at this little guy. He's like, really? Do I look all right? Do I have something in my hair? Yeah, you do, dude. You got some stuff in your hair. I can't quite tell what color it is, but anyway. Obviously, they collect bee pollen. And they attach it to the sides of their legs and that kind of stuff and bring it back to the hive. They're collecting pollen from hundreds of different plants. They know which plant it is. They know why they need it. They can tell if it's putting out nectar and pollen. They can tell before they even get there. But they are going way out, grabbing all the stuff and bringing it together. And then they have something like this. These granules. Okay? Here's a quick representation, just a graph of what's in it. Carbohydrates and proteins, amino acids, lipids, polyphenols, minerals, vitamins, and carotenoids. And if you like those type of drawings, then knock yourself out with those. But I basically wanted to go through what these look like. All right. Bee pollen works on metabolic syndrome disorders. That's all kinds of things related to your heart and your metabolism and this kind of stuff. Ameliorates blood sugar. Amends diabetic testicular pituitary system dysfunction. Don't need to go there, but let me just tell you that it helps with male testicular issues. Bee pollen prevents obesity and combats liver disorders. There's the hepato issue from earlier. Cardioprotective effects of bee pollen. So it works on your heart and your cardiovascular system. Lowers uric acid. Yeah, you don't want that stuff in your body as much as possible. Rectifies the effects of toxins. What? It helps to lower insecticides that are in our body and get rid of? Yes, amazing. Bone metabolism. Did you know your bones have a metabolism? Yep, they do. Regulates the ovarian functions. So not only is it good for men, but it's also good for women. Nice. I'm not going to get into all these in really, really in depth. I'm giving you an overall of what bee products can do for you. Affects intestinal morphology and function. Wait a minute. So I'm getting bee pollen, which is essentially plant pollen. I'll get that out, don't worry. And that affects my intestinal morphology and function? Yeah, it actually does. Works on your mucosal surfaces and things. It's phenomenal. Also acts as an immunostimulant and anti-allergenic agent. But I heard that bee pollen is really bad for people with allergies. No, it's not. You don't go just jamming this stuff into your throat. You start small, work yourself up. Also, you don't utilize bee pollen when it comes from places where you don't live. It needs to be local. That has all your local plants and trees and flowers and all the other kind of stuff around us. Useful agent for cognitive dysfunction. Oh, I forgot my train of thought. Oh, wait. I see what you did there. Functional food. All right, so a functional food is something that gives you extra nutrition into your life. Whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you made scrambled eggs and you threw bee pollen on it. That would increase its nutritional content because you don't need a lot of it to increase all these nutrients. Great functional food. Does it taste good? Depends on you. Do you like the flavor? Go for it. If you mix it into things like if you're into the whole smoothie thing or whatever, it's not that bad. Things like oatmeal, if you eat that kind of stuff, you really can't tell all that much. I mean, it depends. The food you're putting into, how flavorful is it? I'm just saying. So then we come to the most powerful of all the substances the bees make, and that would be royal jelly. And it's just like it sounds. It's for the queen. It's only for her. That white substance right there in her little vessel that's all made for her. You could almost say it's like a, what do you call those things? Like a, the kings and queens drink, a chalice. Like it's her own little chalice that she gets her own specific food. Nobody else gets to eat it but her. Well, it has ridiculous qualities to it because, well, she needs to make thousands of babies a day. On average, about 1,500 per day. They're called the brood. She has to have the ability to regenerate eggs as fast as she possibly can per day. And all the other bees know it. So they're watching her, which could be for just a year or two, maybe 3, but never goes more than 5 years. And then they kill her because it's like, oh, you're done. We're done with you. I'm sure glad we don't kind of do that with our, leaders, that we don't just like, you're ineffective. We're just going to kill you. Anyway, so this I thought was just a quick breakdown of royal jelly because of all the products you could buy of these, royal jelly is going to be the most expensive for obvious reasons. It's not that expensive, but unless you need it, you don't really need to purchase it. If you're in ill health, this is a fantastic supplement to add to your life, especially if you're in a real serious situation, then this would be great. Let me just go through these and then we'll end. Increased tissue respiration, oxidative phosphorylation, exchange of matter, energy, and fitness. Isn't that interesting? Exchange of matter, energy, and fitness. Wonder what that could refer to. Increased resistance to stress and illnesses, and basically making you stronger. The maintenance and strengthening of the hair, skin, and nails. Again, one more thing into the skin. Bee products are amazing for skin. The regeneration of cells and tissues, decrease in cholesterol levels, protective effect on the vascular system, stabilization of blood pressure, increase in memory. That I love. That's pretty cool. Stimulation of the immune system. What was I just saying? Oh, that's right. Increase in memory. Increased appetite. Digestion regulation. Hormonal balance maintenance. Ease of menstrual symptoms. How? Help with impotence and frigidity. Like, why? Well, if you tie in, she needs to eat a substance so that she can make a lot of babies. Could be something there. And that's called life. Well, Eric, it's just, a couple nutrients that are in there that are doing it. No, it's way more than that. You got to think beyond just this materialistic, everything is a particle and an atom. And you got to think beyond that. You are not vitamin D and calcium. You are more than that. Fatigue and tiredness relief. Wow. Like giving you life energy? Positive effect on arthritis, anemia, muscle dystrophy, that's degenerative, neurodegenerative diseases, and pro-regenerative, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and antibiotic effects. Like a life food? What do you say? And then below this, it's getting into all this stuff that it does in the body. Most of this is, well, I'm not going to go there. Point is, these guys, these guys, phenomenal. and they give you some really fantastic medicinal products. They taste good. They're not that expensive. You can get them local. Why not? If you want to add something to your life, I see zero reason to not add any of these to your life. Well, unless you're a vegan. Well, I appreciate you listening as usual. Last week I said I should do an episode on honey because I thought that'd be a good one. And then I thought, well, you know what? Why don't we do one bigger than honey? Because there's so many more things besides honey that the bees give us. All right, appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something. I had fun. Take care of yourselves.